everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cosmic Conversations. I'm your host, Marla Martenson, and we're going to talk something really mystical today. I just thought I'd bring in my mystical friend, Aditka Jaikumar, better known as AJ, from the podcast My Seven Chakras. Hey, AJ, thanks for joining me.
Hi, Marla. How are you doing? Great to be here once again.
Yes, AJ was with me, gosh, a year or two already. I can't believe how time...
It was June 2017. So
What?
3 years. Yeah.
Oh, no. Can't believe this. All right. Well, AJ, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You have this amazing podcast. You have had over 3 million downloads on it. You have amazing guests. And I remember, I think I started listening to you probably in 2016 or so. And I was just like, I loved your voice and I loved your accent. And then I had this image in my mind of how you'd look because, you know, I didn't know. And we always imagine. And you didn't look anything like I thought you would, you know, but it was so great to, I said, that's AJ. I could see his face, you know, when you were doing videos. So, yeah, talk a little bit about what you were doing before your life was, and then what made you want to start this amazing podcast. And then I want to get into some other stuff you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, so I am the founder and host of My Seven Chakras, which is a podcast that today has crossed 4 million downloads, listened to in over 150 countries. And as you've sort of alluded to, what I do is I have interesting conversations with people in the space of yoga, healing work, energy medicine, breathwork, meditation, and all these wonderful ancient practices that we can apply in our modern life. How did I start the podcast? Well, many different inlets into what led to the podcast, but one of it was definitely when I experienced a road accident. This was sometime in 2008, whereas I was on my motorbike, and it was that particular day when I did not wear my helmet. And so what ended up happening was at the cross section, I sort of collided with another van, and that sent me hurling in the air. And the next thing I know, I wake up in the hospital, and that was a very scary, very traumatic experience. Lost a lot of blood, but over a period of time I healed physically, but on the emotional level, on the spiritual level, I knew that I was carrying some trauma and I was looking for ways to sort of heal and clear them off. And so I came across meditation, but that silent contemplative meditation wasn't coming naturally to me. And lo and behold, when I did some search on YouTube, I came across chakra visualization. And so when I did the breathing and the visualization in a certain way, within 10 minutes, I was able to experience the shift. And I thought to myself, in 10 minutes, if this is possible, what else is out there? And so that made me start a podcast because I didn't write blogging. I didn't like writing a lot back in those days. I preferred speaking. And I wanted to connect with people all over the world, including yourself, because you were one of my first guests. And one thing led to the other, because initially I wanted to do 60 episodes, and who knows, right, where you reach. But then it started to pick up momentum. People started liking the show for one reason or the other. And here we are.
It's just amazing. I mean, you do such a great job. It's so professional, and your website's beautiful. And but now, being from India, we always think of Indians as already into all of the chakras and the Vedas and all of these mystical things.
Yep.
Did you already have a knowledge of this? Was this part of your upbringing, or was it something you let go and then totally came back to? Or what's your story with that?
Yeah, great question. I mean, so on my dad's side, my dad is a Hindu, Tamilian, my mom's side, Christian. And so from being a very small child, I was open. I was given a lot of unconditional love and the room to explore spirituality in all its forms. And I think that made a huge difference because I went to the church, but I also went to the temple. And so I came across this vast array of different ways of connecting to your inner self. I didn't do a lot of yoga, Ayurveda, Tantra, but these experiences, just knowing the stories and the deities and some mantras like the Gayatri mantra, all of that were seeds that sort of were germinating, and it led to more organized forms of spirituality. I do remember though, back in school, yoga was compulsory at a certain age. And so we used to do these yoga poses, but what I used to enjoy the most was the shavasana, the one at the last. And I do recall, when the teacher was asking us to project our awareness into certain parts of the body, I felt really good. I didn't know what it was called, but I felt really amazing. And that was one of the other seeds where I wanted to really explore how we as human beings can use our intention and our visualization for healing, but also transformation. So those were some of the experiences. I think for the most part, it was the unconditional love that my parents offered me, and room and space to grow and ask questions and be curious and not be, stuck with rules.
Well, how amazing that in school in India they have yoga for the kids that they have to take. We should have that here. I mean, that's just phenomenal,
Yeah, yeah. And just to add, also, I think what happened in India was something that happens in a lot of colonial countries, which is there was a lot of indoctrination happening. And at a certain point, we were more Western oriented. So even though we had these gifts in our own country, we felt that the grass is always greener on the other side, right? We didn't realize that we have yoga, tantra, Ayurveda. And when I came to the West, I realized that a lot of people valued, respected, adored, and loved what India had to offer. So in a way, that allowed me to go back to my roots and be able to champion the cause of ancient wisdom for the modern mind even better. Because now what I do is I share the ancient wisdom, but I'm also researching and finding out what science is confirming about what our elders always said. So I think that helps, right? Science plus ancient
Right.
practices.
Yeah, we're all like about it here, trying to find
Yeah,
these ancient practices, and then you had it the whole time, but didn't realize how awesome it really was, and now you
yeah.
got back to it. That is so cool. And is your family still back in India? Or did your parents move to Canada?
So my mom and dad are still in India. My sister lives in Atlanta,
In
and it's me
Atlanta.
over here. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, you're up there in Vancouver,
yeah,
beautiful Vancouver, and I'm a Seattle girl, so that
yes,
Northwest, it's just beautiful, beautiful weather and beautiful energy up there. So,
exactly.
so as you were doing the podcast, and then you started teaching some and offering some energy work, and now you have these Sunday Zoom calls, which I've been on a few, and they're just fantastic. An hour, hour and a half,
Yeah,
where guys watching, you can join. You got to get onto AJ's newsletter. Go to my7chakras.com, and I'll flash it up on the screen, and then it's like such a great price, and it's
yeah,
wonderful people. So tell a little bit about there's some breath work, there's
yeah.
some Kundalini stuff. Talk a little bit about what you've been doing on these calls.
Yeah, so I mean, these calls, people are really enjoying it because this is sort of something people look forward to because it happens on a Sunday morning. It's sort of just like a reset before you begin the week once again. And what we do is some breath work. I mean, the thing is that over the years, I've come across energy healing, I've come across, chakra balancing. But when you look at the pathway of yoga, the eightfold path of yoga, our ancient elders already provided us with a blueprint for self-realization. And then because you have 8 steps, the first 2 steps are sort of the rules and regulations for life, how to live life from a philosophical standpoint. The third step is Hatha Yoga, the asanas, which a lot of people are familiar with. The next step is breath control. And so I realized that the beauty about breathing is that it's automatic, right? We don't really have to consciously control our breathing, it happens automatically. But when you take conscious control of your breathing, that's when you're able to unlock a lot of healing, a lot of transformation, and you can literally shift your reality. In the Latin language, inspirar means to breathe in. So if you breathe in consciously, you get inspiration, ideas, synchronicities, opportunities, people come into your life. Expirar means to breathe out, and it also means to die. But in breath work, when you breathe out and hold your breath, you're able to stimulate certain physiological conditions that are very beautiful It also leads to longevity, but most importantly, it allows you to press pause on your life, right? So breathing in and out can sometimes be, stressful. So when you press pause, you allow yourself a little break and allow yourself to get connected with your higher self. And so this is what we do on Sunday morning. It's on Zoom, so you can wear your pajamas and come for these sessions. But in addition to the breath work, I also mix some dancing, some ecstatic dance. Now, growing up, I was always shy of dancing. I never considered myself a dancer. And I always felt, what would people think of me? How would I look, right? And so this is an opportunity for me to also go beyond my own comfort zone and facilitate this beautiful unfolding where people are able to step beyond their comfort zone because they see me, right? And so we do some dancing, get people warmed up, get them sweating, but also activate their endocrine system. Sometimes we do some mantras and different styles of breathing, but most importantly, we do it with music. And music is something that's so emotional, right? When we hear a piece of song from our childhood, we automatically go back to the childhood. When we hear a sad song, we automatically get transported back in the past. So music is something that we have evolved with as human beings. And so when you mix music with breathing and beats, but also doing it together collectively, we in a way open up this healing channel that facilitates a lot of transformation in people. And so that's what we do on Zoom.
And you've done some Tai Chi. You also do
Oh
this
yeah.
other, we did that one day. A
Yeah.
few things. You mix it up every week. It's different. I know one time you were concentrating on finding a soulmate, another time for healing or different areas, which would work. Now, for people who don't know what a mantra is,
Mm.
what's a mantra? What are mantras for? I
Uh,
like the way you say it better. Mantra.
Mantra. So, I mean, to me, mantras are basically certain phrases or sounds that, when you intonate, have an effect on your being, on your vibrations, on your energy, on your frequency, right? They say that you cast a spell, right?
Okay.
You spell, when you spell is connected to the word. So, right? So when you say a certain word multiple times without you even knowing it, you're hypnotizing your brain. That happens positively, but also happens negatively. Use the wrong words and you say, why am I always having to pay these bills, bills, bills? You get more bills.
Right.
But if you say, why am I so grateful? Why am I so happy? Why am I so lucky, lucky, lucky? The universe sends luck towards you. And so it's just that when you say certain mantras, you have a positive effect on your body. And so one of the most primordial ancient mantras is Om. And so, we
And what
basically
is
develop.
Om? If somebody's sitting there saying
Yeah.
Om, what does that mean? Or what is?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, and I think there are 10,000 different interpretations to what Om means. But basically, the way we do it on these sessions is we divide the Om mantra into three parts. One is the Ah, okay, and Ah symbolizes creation. And when we chant this mantra, we try to project the vibrations into our creation part of our chakras, which is the root chakra, but also the sacral chakra. And if you think about it, when a baby is born, what does it say? Mama, right? So it's like
Right.
it's very naturally related to creation, but also from the standpoint of the Indian deities, the different gods that we worship. Brahma is the god of creator. So Brahma. So when you close your eyes, you intonate the word and project it into your root chakra, you feel better, but also you're influencing your chakra to open up slowly. So Aum, Ah. The second part is U. And so U symbolizes the heart chakra, the Anahata chakra, the balance, unconditional love, self-preservation. And from the standpoint of the Indian deities, we have Vishnu. Vishnu is the preserver god. And so when you close your eyes, you say ooh, and when you imagine your heart chakra, you feel really a buzzing sensation. You feel it, you might feel a little bit ticklish if you're sensitized to subtle energies, but it helps with opening the heart chakra. And then the final chakra is a buzzing tone. Mm, that's the third part of the Om, Aum, right? So is you got to visualize the connecting of your physical essence to the universe or the Tao. So the full expression of yourself and aligning with your true purpose in life. So the is the Shivam. The Shivam, as a lot of people
Oh
know,
yeah, they say Shubham.
Shivam. Exactly. And if you look at from the Kundalini standpoint, when you awaken your chakras and you're rising up your Kundalini, the Shakti energy in your root is going to meet with the Shivam energy, which is your ultimate consciousness. Now, so this is from the standpoint of spirit, right? Ancient practices. But from the standpoint of science, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners might be interested, when it comes to completely relaxing your body, especially if you want to focus your energy on digestion, sleep, and building immunity, because guess what? We're in the pandemic, you need to really build your immunity. There is one nerve that everyone should keep in mind of, which is the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve connects our brain stem, its longest nerve, all the way to the throat, to the chest, till the stomach as well. So it's a very long nerve. Now, when you hum, especially in a certain way, you have the effect of stimulating your vagus nerve, which then sends a harmonizing signal all across your body, completely relaxing you. If you connect a meter, if you connect a heart variability meter in your chest, you will realize that your stress is going down. And so the way to activate and stimulate this vagus nerve is by humming. So you can take a deep breath in. And if you just
Like that.
tone your body, yeah,
And also, when we do that buzzing one at the end, when you were saying that, oh, wouldn't that kind of help open the third eye, kind of activate the third eye?
exactly. Yeah. So you're also projecting it in your third eye, but also you're sending the signal to your vagus nerve, completely relaxing you, energizing you, and activating your rest, digest, and immune building part of your nervous system, which is really good for people who really want to relax, right? All of us have a lot of stress, anxiety, especially in the midst of all this change that's happening in the world right now.
And you talk about the Kundalini, and that's something I'm very interested in, is the Kundalini energy. And some people have the Kundalini awakening,
Yeah.
and people do videos about it on YouTube. And
Yeah.
a lot of the people that, the experts or the spiritual teachers that talk about it often say, well, you really can't, it has to happen when you're ready. Like your spirit
Yes.
guides will help you with it or do it. You can't really force it. Or if you do try to force it with someone or with some psychedelics or something, it could blast through too much, or
Yeah.
but it's something that a lot of people would like. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, wouldn't that be cool to have that Kundalini opening, because you become more psychic, you become more connected, but also they say it could also tear your whole life down. So
Yeah.
what's your findings on this Kundalini energy? Should we be trying for this, or should we just, like, if it doesn't happen, it feels like, well, why does that person get to have one and I don't?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I think that speaks to life as well, right? A lot of times we look at people on Instagram or social media, we feel they're so successful, so fortunate, but what we don't see is the darkness that they've had to go through and the ups and downs. Nobody posts about that. But you're right, I think one of the very experienced Kriya Yoga masters, and I've interviewed a lot of them, but he told me, like, the Kundalini energy at your root is like a 10,000 watt dynamite. It's very powerful, right? You don't want to explode that because it's going to be unfortunate. It can also create certain mental disorders. You don't know how it works. It's so mystical. And so firstly, when you're working with this, you need to be guided with a practitioner, or hold a deity in your mind, whoever that might be, and ask for their guidance and wisdom, but never
Oh, I
hurry.
like that. Do you have a certain deity that would help with that one? Anybody in
It's a
mind?
very good question. I mean, sometimes visualize Paramahansa Yogananda,
Paramahasa. Yeah.
or I might visualize Hanuman,
Right.
or, some deity, or maybe even Jesus, somebody who you're close with, connected to, and somebody who would protect you in this circumstance. The thing is, another Kriya Yoga master told me that the Kundalini awakening, Kundalini is a feminine energy, right? And so you need to treat this energy like a princess. So if the princess is sleeping in her quarters in the royal chambers, You can't go to the princess and shake her up
Yeah.
and wake her up, right? You can't do that because then the princess will get angry and she'll scream, and then the whole palace will come to know. Everyone is going to get afraid. What you can do is nudge the princess a little bit and give her time. Nudge her again, give her 10-15 minutes. Nudge her again, give her time. Then she might wake up, she might rub her eyes, you know, rub her hands, drink a glass of water, take the time, and then finally awaken. And this particular person told me that the best form of spiritual awakening, firstly, is that you need to let it, like, do your practice, hold the intention, but don't be in a hurry to awaken yourself, because it's definitely a process. And you need to let the Kundalini energy princess wake up at her own time and convenience.
And it
That's the best
slowly
way.
goes through each chakra, up,
Yeah.
and up. And then if you have blockages, that could be painful, I guess, too. So
Yeah,
gotta be
because you're burning the blockages also, right? You're burning the subconscious imprints, you're burning the negative habitual tendencies, you're burning the karmic, blockages and things like that. So it's not just going from A to B, but it's along the way dealing with those issues that for the longest time maybe you did not face them. And life will have a way of presenting these opportunities to you. It's not just happening in your spine, but it's happening around you as well. And that can happen in the form of health challenges. It could be relationship issues. It could be financial issues. But whatever it is, you need to be like this very calm, collected warrior persona and tackling issues as they come one by one. That's just my
what's the
perspective.
name of this man that you interviewed about this on your
Okay. So the man that I interviewed, his name is Sri M. He goes by
SRI, right? Sri
M. Just M.
just the M.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's on, we can look up one of your old podcasts.
You can look up one of my podcasts, but he also does sessions.
Oh,
Yeah. And the lady that I connected with is Ellen O'Brien.
and she's also a Kundalini specialist.
She's a Kriya master, and I believe she's got a lineage that connects with Paramahansa Yogananda. She's very kind, very nice person. She sent me some books also, and she's based in California. But
Oh, okay. And
yeah.
where is this Sri M? Where is he located?
Well, Shriyam is, for the most part, I think he's based in India, Bangalore, but he
Yeah.
does a lot of travel. But
Right.
not right now, but
Maybe he does Kundalini Zoom sessions.
he does Zoom sessions. He does satsangs. I'm not sure he does Zoom. Maybe he does Zoom sessions, but he does satsangs also, where he's maybe answering questions, giving his perspective, and he's got people from like places in Scandinavia, Europe, but also places in USA.
There's a woman who's also near Vancouver. Her name is Tina Spalding. Do you know Tina? She channels Jesus and Ananda. She's an amazing
Not yet.
lady. She, well, I have had her on my show a few times, and the way she had her Kundalini awakening was she was a student of the Course in Miracles, and she was really working with that for like 12 years. And then one day she was laying in bed. I think she was taking a nap or something. Anyway, she was lying down, and she just had her body starts convulsing. I mean, she just had this incredible, like awakening, and she realized she was there, I think, for hours. It was going through the chakras, and
Yeah.
she realized it was a Kundalini awakening. After that, she started she's a trance channel for Jesus and this group called Ananda. Amazing stuff. Amazing lady, Tina Spalding.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll put some of these people's links below so you guys can look them up. But
Cool.
yeah, she's not far from Vancouver and somewhere out there. Beautiful place.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I'm getting is that you really have to, like Tina had done all this work on herself. We can't just be like a mess in our lives and chaotic and arguing and maybe and then have this happen, because we need to work on ourselves, do clearing, healing, so that if it happens, we can handle it and what comes with it. Because I think what comes with it is you get this connection and knowledge to the higher realms, and you're going to want to work with that instead of, and maybe if you're really chaotic in your life and stuff, it's not going to happen anyway. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like to me, it is like there are two parts. One is the conscious mind, one is the subconscious mind. All these awakenings are largely a function of the subconscious mind. But from the conscious mind, we can keep placing seeds, right? Like
Right.
just preparing for the event to happen, not having too much expectation. I think that's the other, lesson I'm learning from life is letting go of all expectations and like demonstrating self-love as well as unconditional love, right? That's the hardest thing to do is to be able to go through experience to experience with grace, but also demonstrating unconditional love. I think this is like the highest, uh, like even if you don't have like a spontaneous spiritual awakening, but you demonstrate unconditional love, that in a way is all the spiritual awakening that you need.
Yeah, I think people get a little confused on this word spiritual awakening. Like they think
Yeah,
it's just like one day, oh, something happens, I'm awake, or
yep,
like you, how did? But a spiritual awakening, it could be over a few years of, for example, for me, it was, and maybe with you too. We got attuned to Reiki and
mm,
different energetic attunements. That's when I started to be able to channel, to give my readings and get messages.
mm,
Things started opening. It was a slow process.
yeah,
So that would be a an awakening, but it's not like in one day or in one, month or something.
yeah. Exactly. I mean, maybe it is one day, but it's like they say, right? Overnight success, there's no overnight success. When you see a person who's had an overnight success, more often than not, they've been working for the last 9 to 10 years and
Right.
nobody's watching them. They're
Yeah.
not in the limelight. They're
Yeah.
not having, newspapers write about their articles and no one's even talking about them.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that they are not fully confident and intending and having that vision for themselves, and then it happens because all the conditions meet. It's like you're creating hay and you're making hay, stacking it nicely for the fire to awaken. And the only thing that's missing to have that overnight success is that one spark of fire. And then the
Okay.
flame burns, right? But that stacking of hay takes years together, you
Yes.
know?
Exactly. And AJ, speak a little bit about, well, what I love about your work and your Sundays and all that,
Mm,
and your podcast is now more than ever, at least in the United States, we're
yeah,
so divided. There's so much
yeah,
anger and hate, and people not talking to each other if they're
yeah,
with their political party, or as a matchmaker, they
right.
won't date someone who is voted for a certain person or is with a certain political leaning.
Yeah,
They won't even. It's almost like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And
yeah,
and and we need this unconditional love more than ever. We need this
yeah,
connection more than ever. So,
yeah.
yeah, just speak to how it can really, going in, can unite us more.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful question. I was thinking about it this morning as well. And the story that I often tell my friends is you don't have to agree with everything the other person says, but you can still be friends with that other person. Like my good friend, we go to have coffee or something, and we are disagreeing on a
Yeah,
lot of the stuff, but we know how to disagree.
right.
We know how to argue. We know how to debate. And the first thing to know when you want to get in touch with somebody, let's say I'm a Democrat and the other person's a Republican, or I'm a Republican and the other person's a Democrat, or maybe I'm in between, but I
Right.
have a viewpoint.
Yeah.
The first thing to know is that they're not against you just because they have a viewpoint, right? A lot of times people assume that just because that person has a point of view, they're personally attacking you
Hmm.
and that's a threat against your existence. That's when the root chakra gets activated and the stress and the anxiety gets activated because it feels like a personal threat. So firstly, don't take it personally. It's
Yeah.
just a viewpoint. Secondly is just be curious. Like if somebody supports Hillary or Trump, whatever that might be,
Right.
don't just get stuck on that. Ask them why. Be curious,
Yeah.
whatever that might be, right? Because at the end of the day, we all know that we do certain things because we love something or to go away from fear. So if you agree on that front that you're doing something out of love or to go away from fear, you have a reason to sort of agree. And once you agree, that's it. So keep in mind that just be curious, ask open-ended questions, and third, at the end of the argument, just use kind words and say, you know what, we had a wonderful discussion. I've learned so many new things from this discussion. It's made me a more full human being. I
Hmm.
still love you. right? So you need to complete the discussion. And I feel that when you know how to have these discussions in a very conscious way, you don't mind if the other person has different viewpoints. Because think about it, we are what's the population of the earth? I think 7 billion. You're bound to come across somebody who's got a different viewpoint than you. But if you learn
Sure.
to, disagree, we can, I think this opportunity is an opportunity to really grow and take our consciousness to the next level. And if you're only looking for people who agree with us, I don't think that's, good for growth, for self-development, right?
It is an opportunity to grow, and also manage our reactions, because sometimes we'll go through
Exactly.
knee-jerk reactions like, well, if you're a Democrat, you must think this, or
Yep.
if you're a Republican, you must be
Yep.
racist, or so, and
Yep.
lumping people into an idea that you must be
So bad.
this.
Yeah.
It's not, every single person has nuances, and that's
Yeah.
why I don't like this party system. I don't like, because it's really divides us, like I'm this and you're that, and we're against each
Exactly.
other. So it's maybe things will be dismantled and have a more united
Yeah.
things in the future, which I hope, where we all just have some ideas and present them, instead of these staunch, opposing parties.
Why do you think the people in power are still in power? It's because divide and rule was a policy that was had in India, in
Yeah.
China, in all these large countries with a lot of population. The only way to control them is divide and rule. That's the same thing that's happening in the USA, same thing in Canada. If the people are united, if they believe in love, if they are fully sovereign and free from the mental, spiritual and emotional level, it's hard to rule over such a people with an iron rod,
I
right?
do see the media is really fueling that, fueling
Yes.
the
Yeah.
separation of it, of
Yeah.
and people are turning against each other, and we've got
It's
to
very true.
turn that around, and just come from one love, and to
Yeah.
screw those people, the media, who's trying to
Yeah.
express, turn it off.
Yeah. Exactly. You know
What
what? I've also stopped
the AJs
talking all
podcast?
this.
What?
I've also stopped, doing all this news, because you and me, we come to all this news from a perspective of conscious awareness, right? And we do. I know you do a lot of research, and you do a lot of personal reflection, but also experimentation with these different practices that will take you to the next level. So when you approach this news, you're coming from a different awareness and viewpoint, but a lot of people, you know,
Yes, we
knee
have
jerk.
that discernment where we don't automatically believe everything,
Yeah,
and we can kind of
exactly.
see, well, they're trying to manipulate this, or just
Yeah,
the negativity of it coming, negative, 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 and it hurts when we are at this higher vibration where we've been working on ourselves, hearing people just putting each other down all the time,
yeah,
putting other people down, trying to find dirt on them. It actually, it's just hurt. It's goes against our it's such a low frequency, right? So
yeah,
it's hard to listen. It really gets hard to listen to it. So we start turning it off. And I think a lot of
exactly.
people who haven't been working on themselves yet, they're kind of sucked into it. But we just hope, if you're watching this, let us know in the comments. Are you sick of the negativity that's in the airwaves? Have you turned your TV off? How do you feel about it? And also, I'd love it if you put in the comments, do you have friends of opposing views that you get
Mm,
along with, or have you really had to, have you lost any friendships? And also, I want to know what you're doing in your spiritual practice. So, because this is a great conversation to have, and hopefully open
yeah,
hearts and minds to be more accepting and loving, and get back to that basic love.
yeah, and have that political discussion, but end it with some breath work, end it with a meditation, end it with some EFT. You know,
The tapping. Yeah. Do you do some of the tapping too in your?
you know what? I interviewed Nick Ortner
Uh-huh.
from the Tapping Solutions, I think last week or the week before that, and we spoke about this very discussion.
Okay.
We spoke about this very conversation, and he, gave some techniques on how to reduce stress.
Right.
And so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the points, but what I learned was there are certain points over here. There's one point below your nose,
Uh-huh.
then below here. Ooh, it works so well. And then over here, then below your armpit,
And then up here.
and up here. Yeah. And when you do this, I can already feel it, right? Because you're tapping into your energy meridians,
Yeah.
and when you mix it up with some affirmations and anchor points, it really transforms your life. So if somebody is feeling stressed out, you say, even though I'm stressed out, I am relaxing minute by minute. Even though and what I found interesting was you're not ignoring the truth. You're acknowledging that you are stressed out right now or you are anxious, but you're saying, even though you're stressed out, even though you're anxious, the situation is changing.
I completely love and accept myself.
I completely love and accept myself. Exactly. The karate chop point. Yeah. I don't know how this works, but I'm going to, mix it up with some breath work. Yeah.
The breath work really moves out emotions.
It does.
Really do it, like if you're laying down and really do that deep breath work for like a half an hour, I've done it before, and your hands are like buzzing and you're whole oxygenized, and it moves out emotions. You know what I do when I get a little stressed? I'll be even at a store and I start right here, somehow right here, the thymus, I think.
Yeah.
And my husband one day goes, "What are you doing?" Because I was just like, yeah, just this place.
Yeah. The other day I had this thing, because I also keep doing this, but then I thought about myself, the gorilla.
Yeah.
The gorilla, what does a gorilla do to...
Oh, they're always doing something.
For confidence.
Oh, yeah,
they do this, right?
Right.
So it's like a very animalistic, but also natural way of tapping into an aspect of yourself whenever you want. Like more confidence.
Yeah, more confidence.
Yeah. Cool.
This has been such a great conversation, AJ. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys check out AJ's podcast, My 7 Chakras, and my7chakras.com, which you'll see on the screen. And just sending everybody much love. And just do some of these practices to calm yourself down, calm your nerves down, and so we can spread more love out into the